the gang you should have just asked for.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my set.
You will see a situation 6 months after a situation.
I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit.
Y'all, it's looking like somebody just got left off a real bad and bougie reunion because Quavo and Offset might be back at each other's necks. And this time, the streets swear it's all over Saweetie. The official story. Offset was just talking about lies, growth, and cause and effect on Joe Budden's podcast. The unofficial story, that man basically slid a confession on wax, hinting he smashed close to home and left the streets to connect the dots right back to the frosty ex of his own cousin. Like clockwork, folks started digging up old Quavo receipts, the shady lyrics, the side-eye interviews, the sneak disses, realizing this alleged betrayal might have been the crack that split Migos for good. And considering these two weren't just industry partners, but blood family, you'd think there'd be a line they'd never cross. But if the whispers are real, Offset stepped over a boundary you can't walk back from. Word is, Quavo didn't just take it personal, he made moves, and if that's the case, we're staring at a whole new season of the Migos Cold War, one that could get ugly. Offset walked into that Joe Budden interview like he had nothing to prove, calm, dripped out, and cool as ice. But the second the talk shifted to broken trust, love gone bad, and cheating, he started dropping hints that had everybody leaning in.
I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit.
Translation, he's basically saying he knows exactly why Cardi's out here with Stephon Diggs because he's done her dirty more times than the internet can count. And Joe Budden, oh, he didn't let that slide. He pulled out the messiest receipts of all time, reminding everybody that Offset's roster is long enough to need a playlist. And yes, Saweetie's name came up right alongside Chrisean Rock and Ari.
If me and Mel are together and I cheat on her and I go get
some duck.
Or
and then I end up with
somebody that's
Idris.
Offset didn't even try to deny it, just sat back and let that tension marinate for everybody to connect the dots themselves. It was that wink wink, say no more kind of energy. Offset saying it without actually saying it, like he was daring the streets to fill in the blanks for him.
You will see a situation 6 months after a situation. You see what I'm saying? You'll see some shit.
Because it's outside, I'm in a public situation, so you're gonna see it when you see it, and then your opinion come then.
By the time Joe Budden was done grilling him, it didn't even feel like an interview anymore. It felt like a confessional. Only Offset was playing priest and sinner. The way he kept it vague, never confirming, never denying, made it crystal clear. If the rumor mill wants to run wild, he's not lifting a finger to stop it. And that's where folks started asking the real questions. If Offset was comfortable tossing these kinds of hints on camera, what was happening off camera? How close are we to Quavo stepping in to check him face to face? Because let's be real, the Quavo-Saweetie fallout wasn't just a breakup. It was a full-blown reality series without the production crew, except of course for those infamous elevator cameras. TMZ caught them in a scuffle, the Bentley repossession drama went public, and the subtweets, razor sharp, enough to cut ice into dust.
None that I left went up, so I don't know how to experience.
By late 2022, Quavo wasn't just throwing shade, he was shaking the whole iced out tree. Remember that track with Takeoff? Yeah, it wasn't subtle. I said, shorty please, cause she too messy. Please be futting my dog behind my back, but I ain't stressing. Not at all. You with the gang, you should have just said it. We would have blessed it. That bar hit, and the internet turned into CSI Atlanta, Twitter threads, YouTube breakdowns, Reddit theories, every single one pointing a manicured finger right at Offset. Should have just said, it became more than a lyric. It was a public accusation.
In a recent video released by TMZ, the rappers are involved in a full-on physical scuffle while on an elevator. The surveillance footage was caught on camera at an apartment complex in North Hollywood.
And here's where the logic hit. The gang meant Migos, the dog, somebody inside that circle. Suddenly everything clicked. Quavo and Takeoff moving as a duo, Offset out in his own lane. That one verse explained the Migos breakup better than any official statement could. And if the dog was Offset, then this wasn't just messy. It was the kind of betrayal you don't patch up over a few diss tracks. And as everybody knows, Offset and Quavo aren't just industry partners, they're family, blood cousins. And when it comes to women, especially someone like Saweetie, that kind of move doesn't happen without the family stamp of approval. So when whispers started swirling that Offset and Saweetie hooked up, it didn't just sound like gossip, it felt like a direct bullet to the Migos brotherhood. And here's where it gets even uglier. Because before the breakup even went public, TMZ dropped that bombshell elevator footage from a North Hollywood apartment building.
Wanted the gang, you should have just asked for it.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my said he say on the song, cousin. Gang is referring to Migos, like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody in the gang.
The video was hard to watch, ending with Quavo walking out while Saweetie stayed on the ground, allegedly injured. Weeks later, Saweetie broke her silence on Twitter. I'm single. I've endured too much betrayal and hurt behind the scenes for a false narrative to circulate that degrades my character, presents don't band-aid scars, and the love isn't real when the intimacy is given to other women. Before anyone could assume Quavo would post an apology for what the cameras caught, he clapped back with his own tweet. I had love for you, and I'm disappointed you did all that. You are not the woman I thought you were. I wish you nothing but the best. That shot sent cheating rumors into a full sprint. Then came the grenade. Celebrity stylist Khalil, aka Zaslim, fired off a tweet that froze timelines. Offset, do you really want to discuss husbands? The streets went quiet. That was in direct response to Cardi B defending her man after catching heat over weed and gun charges. Suddenly, the internet was side-eyeing Cardi like, girl, who exactly are you defending? Quavo never came out and confirmed anything, but the tension in his bars might as well have been a press release. Fans were quoting his own lyrics about loyalty. Loyalty that, according to many, got left bleeding in that elevator. But the saga didn't stop there. Just when people thought things couldn't get more hostile, the 2023 Grammys happened. Sources on the ground swore that right before Quavo was set to perform Without You during the In Memoriam tribute to Takeoff, he and Offset got into a full-on physical fight backstage. Security had to separate them. There's even a short clip online showing both men being calmed down after the blow-up. The word is, Quavo refused to let Offset join him on stage, and that's when it all exploded. One camp insists Quavo lit the fuse. Offset, for his part, jumped on X just hours later to completely shoot the rumor down. But the footage and the whispers tell a different story. What the hell I look like fighting my brother? Y'all are crazy. That's what Offset posted. But fans weren't buying it for a second. They remembered how, at Takeoff's funeral months earlier, the cousins didn't exchange a single look, a handshake, nothing. Even while delivering emotional speeches just feet apart, one fan summed it up on X. Get your money and stay out the way, bruh. Karma will handle the rest. And the hope had been that Takeoff's death might finally end the feud. Instead, it proved how deep the cracks really ran. Because if even grief couldn't bring them back together, then maybe this was never just about music. And when the Offset Saweetie rumors went nuclear, everyone expected Cardi B to storm in and defend her man. But instead, silence. And that silence was louder than any diss track. People started side-eyeing, wondering if Cardi already knew the truth. It wasn't until she sat down with Jason Lee that she even touched the subject.
Dodging the hit, and the two going toe-to-toe over what seems to be an orange Call of Duty case. The fight continues inside the elevator with Quavo dragging her inside, Saweetie taking a spill and seemingly being injured while the Migos rapper does nothing to help her. At one point, he seems to realize the camera has recorded their altercation, but still does nothing to assist Saweetie, who is still on the ground. This video, which apparently happened in 2020, is a shocking turn of events, which comes on the heels of news of their breakup.
She dodged every direct question, never confirming, never denying, and that strategic silence only made the streets more convinced she was protecting a reality she didn't want going public.
And you know that I was finding out that truth in and out. So it's like, if I entertain something that I know is not true on the internet, people be like, oh, it is true because you're addressing it.
Translation, things were messy, but she wasn't about to hand the blogs free ammunition. Then came the Oscars after-party drama. The Vanity Fair event was already buzzing, but eyewitnesses say when Cardi spotted Saweetie, she walked straight over and lit into her, "What you got to say now?" Loud, public, no mistaking the energy. One witness called it real ghetto. Oh, child, the ghetto. And yet Saweetie didn't flinch. She didn't raise her voice, didn't match the volume, just hit Cardi with that trademark icy composure, the kind that says, "You're not gonna rattle me." She kept it classy, but make no mistake, she wasn't backing down either. Basically, Cardi was out here looking wild, yelling, snapping, putting on a full show. Then she jumps on IG Live the same day, talking to somebody over the phone like she had a point to prove.
Keep going longer and longer and longer. And at the end of the day, I know what's going on in my house.
Well, and you have no problem picking up a phone and calling to clear the air. But that's why I love that. That's the growth.
And just to keep the energy icy, that same day, Saweetie pops on IG Live, flashing millions in jewelry, smiling like she just won a championship.
You know me. I don't play that. But I'll call you later because I'm on live. I'll tell you all the Tiana later. Bye.
To fans, that was all they needed. Confirmation without anybody saying a word. Cardi didn't spill the tea outright, but she left enough crumbs for the internet to eat for days. And Saweetie made sure her own power move was loud enough to be heard without saying a single sentence. In a beef this layered, sometimes silence screams louder than any diss track. Now let's rewind to Quavo and how Saweetie's once spotless icy girl image started melting fast after the first Offset hookup rumors exploded online. When she was with Quavo, she was hip-hop's frosty princess. McDonald's collab, Crocs deal, major brand campaigns.
$25 million on my back.
But after the breakup, the headlines got darker. First came the Get Your Lick Back era. Lil Baby paparazzi pics, social media whispers, and P's Camp calling it disrespect. Fans called it city girl energy, but the streets had a way harsher name for it.
Or for being ran through by this nigga brother and homie.
I don't think slur is the right word. Homewrecker. You can say that. You
slut
feel
and
me?
whore. And once you are promiscuous after being a wifey, you now lose your reputation. It's now, right? You know, like you're no longer as popping because right now we all view her as just an outright like whore, slur, right?
Then Chris Brown jumped in messy, dropping bars about their alleged fling while she was still with Quavo. On Weakest Link, he rapped, "You the weakest link out of your clique. You fed my ex, ho." But that's cool, cause he fed your ex when you were still with her. Revenge lines that had everybody hitting rewind. Saweetie didn't deny it either, and when Quavo clapped back on Over Hoes and Bees, she posted DMs and let off her own digital shots. And then came the blind item claiming she put hands on Quavo's baby mama, Erica Fontaine, after finding out he had a child on the low. By that point, the internet had already tied her name to Offset, Lil Baby, Chris Brown, and now Erica. Every headline kept dragging her right back into Quavo and Offset's orbit. Whether she wanted it or not, her post-Migos chapter was never really hers. But here's the real plot twist, the beef between the cousins. After months of dead silence, Offset's new Joe Budden interview ripped the bandage off old wounds. He wasn't just talking about Stephon Diggs or cause and effect. He was cracking open old history.
Deal with it in real time when you're looking at it. How do you deal with that? You just like, I'm a
human being. You see me say some sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then I just had to realize it is what it is.
No. And then DJ Academics chimed in, fanning the flames.
I've talked to them. Yo, Offset done fuck, what is it? Saweetie, Christian Rock, Ari, like, yo, this is, yo, Offset was piping out chicks that Cardi was supposed to do music with.
Now, picture this. Quavo catching Offset backstage, still steaming over those thinly veiled jabs. No cameras, no Grammys producers, no one to pull them apart, just a closed door, a couple sharp words, then fists flying before security even knows who's scrapping. Because this isn't about one verse or one rumor anymore, this is years of unspoken disrespect, a brotherhood turned into battlefield, and a name, Saweetie, still sitting like a live grenade between them. Migos reunion.
We want to see our career as a duo, you know what I'm saying? So we just stand on loyalty, you know what I mean? We stand on real deal loyalty. And, you know, sometimes that shit ain't displayed. And this ain't got nothing to do with no label, no paperwork, no QC, no nothing.
At this point, people are saying it would take nothing short of a miracle. The Cold War is locked in, and with both men refusing to clear the air, the streets are filling in the blanks themselves. Did Offset just poke the bear with that interview, or is Quavo still holding a grudge so deep it's never getting buried? And if this really is all over Saweetie, then she's the type of bad chick who doesn't just have her own drama, she leaves the whole block talking. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next one.